Hello, I'm Alan. Welcome to the Guitar Shack. So today's video, I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive in this lovely little Squier, which I have acquired in trade. So this is made in Japan E-serial, which it means 1984 to 87 at the Fuji Gen factory, which is where all the best ones come from. It is a Squier contemporary Stratocaster ST-336, I believe, from some internet research. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, it's really good quality. It is, as you can see, a super Strat with an HSS configuration and no pickguard. It's got individual switching for the coils, or for the pickups. And it's got a short scale neck. So this is a 24.75 inch neck, which is why it's so small and compact, and it does feel that way. Very 1980s. It's got obviously the blacked out headstock, and we'll get inside, we'll find out. I'm not sure whether this is the original humbucker or whether it's been changed, because it is a Seymour Duncan. And I'm as yet unsure whether Squier actually produced that with that in place or whether this is an upgrade. So we shall see. Okay, so let's see what this sounds like. So the switching system is basically there's on or off for the neck and the bridge, and then there's a split, full, and off for the humbucker. So up for off, and then middle for off on the bridge. So down is full humbucker. And then if we put that into single coil mode, then we have the middle on. And then neck. So that's them all played through a clean amp. And what do I think? The full humbucker mode is what you would expect. I think that's what I would expect. The thing that I think is unexpected is I quite like the split humbucker in the bridge. Got a nice sort of twang. That's decent. Quite articulate, so I quite like that. The neck, the bridge pickup's quite quiet on its own. That might be that it's a setup issue. It's just pickup heights, so I'll go through that when I do it. But nice neck pickup. And of of course, you've got the Strat position 4. That's quite nice for sort of jazzy stuff. So let's have a bit of crunch. So humbucker, that's where most people are going to go with a guitar that looks like this, I guess. So single cutter. And then let's go neck. So here's something a little bit more high gain. So let's get up close and have a wee look. So this is in really good condition. I say that a lot because a lot of the guitars that I have are in really good condition. But, you know, it's nearly 40 years old. Doesn't look like it to me. Really nice condition. So we've got a standard type of Stratocaster bridge. I haven't got a Trem arm for it. It's got block saddles on it, which is quite early to have block saddles before they were a thing. The humbucker, Seymour Duncan, as we said. Top mounted Strat pickups. And then nice fretwork. That's one of the real two distinguishing features really for these Japanese mid-80s E-series ones that I've had. They've always got really nice shaped necks. There's just something about the neck carve. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm sure people who are more into the specifics of necks will be able to tell me. But the other thing is that they've always got really immaculate fretwork, really nice fret ends, and that's certainly the case with this one. There's very little wear on it as well. We'll get the strings off and we'll have another closer look. And then we've got the painted headstock. So the decals are, I think, original in that they're sort of under the finish. They've got a bit of lifting or greying of the foil, which, you know, happens on older guitars sometimes, but that's about the only sort of cosmetic flaw that I can see with this, because it you know, it does stand out. It's not perfect, but I don't see any evidence thus far that that's because it's been refinished or anything. So might just be age related. On the back, slightly odd configuration for the Trem springs, but it seems to be full width Trem, so that's good. It's missing a back plate, which I'll get and put on it. Again, there's just a little bit of, buckle rash, but really, 40-year-old guitar. I mean, look at this. This is really cool. So what else can I tell you? So, standard kind of neck, skunk stripe, gloss finished. No markings on the bottom or on the back of the headstock. And then we've got Fender branded tuners. These are really good tuners. I believe they're actually Goto. So neck off, I've got no markings on the heel, no date or anything. So inside the pocket we've got ST-336 and then TR. Not sure what the third letter is, but that would be, so the model number is ST-336, so that confirms what I thought, and TR would be Torino Red, which is the colour. Looks like a W up there, and we've got a micro tilt, which is quite a high-end appointment for a Squier guitar. So this is definitely not your average Squier. So quick check on the truss rod, which moves freely. That's it's a standard Mexican sized one, which is 3/16. So the nut is nicely cut. I think it's original. It seems to be under the finish, so that would indicate that it's not been changed. Black, so obviously not bone. Some kind of synthetic bone or basic plastic, but it's decent quality and it seems quite hard. So if it's plastic, it's a decent one. Just moving on to inspect the frets. Very little wear on here. Yeah, I mean that's going to polish up nicely. It doesn't need any fretwork or leveling, so that's a bonus. It's not being played much by the looks of it. So let's have a look inside the cavities and see what we can see. So the first thing I can see is that one of the screws is not matching and the other one is missing. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that this cover has been off in the past. So what have we got? We've got full-sized pots. Can't see what's written on them, but we'll get in closer up. We've got some numbers somewhere. We've got cloth pushback wiring for the middle and neck pickups, and then we've got kind of standard 4-conductor humbucker right here. We've got we've got a small capacitor. So the immediate things that spring to my mind are, one, I'm surprised to see cloth pushback wiring, which doesn't seem factory. And then the other point, but then neither does the Seymour Duncan. And then the other point is that the soldering doesn't look particularly factory either. It's neat but and nicely formed, but not doesn't have that kind of perfectly spherical look of somebody who's dropping in, 10 of these every 5 minutes in a factory somewhere. So that to me suggests that we might have not just a humbucker that's been changed out, but also the pickups or the neck in the middle. Could be wrong, but that's my current take. Okay, so this gets curiouser and curiouser. So, yes, it is a USA Seymour Duncan. I'll Google what model it is from this code, but that seems fairly definitive. We then got a middle pickup, which has got the cloth wiring from the pickup itself and is individual magnets. So I'm assuming that's Alnico. And then we've got a different pickup in the neck, which is a ceramic bar magnet, and which has got well, it's like the original pickup wiring spliced onto some of the cloth pushback wiring. So that's an interesting mix. And that probably explains why there is such a volume difference between the neck pickup and the middle pickup, the middle pickup being pretty quiet. Interesting. So let's have some data rather than some opinion. So with a multimeter, then this is the bridge in full humbucker mode. It's 14.9, which is sort of what you would expect of a reasonably hot humbucker. And then in split coil mode, that is 7.07. Now that explains, to my mind, why it sounds really good as a split coil, because that's a chunky pickup. That if it was a single coil reading 7K, then that's Texas Special territory. So that is quite a hot pickup, even split. So if we then have the middle pickup, so that's 6.56, and that's the unidentified Alnico one. And then if we have the neck, that's 5.7. So that is interesting, isn't it? Because it is louder than the middle, but it's not as hot. One thing that's worth pointing out is that in the middle pickup, there's because they're direct mounted pickups, you can see that there's two different holes. So clearly, either well, it's been changed, doesn't it? This is the replacement pickup. Nothing particularly identifying about the Trem. No manufacturing marks on it or anything, but it's heavy. It's got a really good quality block. You can see the machining marks there, so it's not some cast pot metal thing. It's got a good heft to it. And these saddles are nice, smooth, and I don't think I've seen these before on another guitar, standard Fender. So I don't know. Are they Goto? Nice anyway. Good quality. Raised quite high actually. The way the action had been set because it was decked, it wasn't floating. So that's the bridge. So really, what can that tell us? We've been inside, seen what we can see. The main thing I'm going to do now is basically give it a good clean and get it all back together. So that's the body cleaned up and buttoned up back together. So on with the neck. So that's us on the home straight with this one. So quick setup. So first things first is check the neck relief, which is way too high. I'm looking for about 7 thou on one of these. That's down to 9 now. Just another 1/8 of a turn, say. Yep, that's 7. So that should be decent. Let's check my string height. So I'm looking for, depends on the fretboard. I'm generally looking for 1.5 mil on the bass E and 1.25 on the high E. This is just under 1.5. Still on. That is pretty close straight out the box. So let's just tweak these. I like to, you can use a radius gauge to do it, or you can set them individually. I generally find it's easier just to set them individually, and just sort of spread the height differences across the board as I go. So that is dead on 1.5 on the bass E. That's a bit low on the A. So that just needs to come up a smidgen. Yep. So I'm already at 1.25, 1.25, and that's just a little bit high on the high E. Just drop that down slightly. So let's get this tuned. All good. And now just the intonation. So the G string is a little bit flat. So the fretted note is flat compared to the open note, so it needs to come forward and then back up to pitch. Closer, just needs a little bit more tweak, and that's slightly big. So the way I always remember intonation is fretted flat forward, the three Fs. So if the fretted note is flat compared to the open note, then the saddle needs to move forward. And often it needs to move by quite a surprising amount. It's quite easily to be off by just a little bit, but you still need the whole turn of the screw to actually bring it in. See, that still needs a touch more. Right. Okay, that's in. B. A little bit flat, not surprising, given that I had sighted them all in by eye when I put the bridge back together, because they're all broadly going to be in a fairly standard pattern. So it's not a million miles out. Still a bit flat. Most important thing is to make sure that you get the screwdriver exactly in the screw. You don't want to be messing up your intonation screws, and you don't want to be slipping off into your paintwork. One more turn. Give that a few turns just to get it moving. Spot on. So the pickup heights are quite out of balance, so the neck needs to go down, which probably won't go much further down because it's hard on the body. And then the middle needs to come up. You can do numbers, you can do specs, all that kind of stuff for pickup heights, but I tend to go much more by sound, and if it sounds about balanced, good enough. Okay, so here is finished article. This is a really nice little Squier. I'm very impressed with this, more than I actually expected to be when I took it in trade. The build quality is fantastic. It really is. Everything is just solid, smooth, in really good condition. This neck is gorgeous. Really decent Seymour Duncan. This is a nice middle pickup. I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming that it's either something like sort of custom shop knockoff, Tone Rider or something like that, perhaps with the cloth wiring. And then for some reason they've left the neck pickup is the, I think, original bar magnet ceramic, but it sounds good. Nice action on the pots. I'll do some more work to clean up the switches. There's a little bit of corrosion perhaps just in this three-way one on the bridge. But other than that, good to go. Okay, hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you back in the shack soon. So this guitar is now up for sale on my Reverb shop. If you just go to reverb.com and search for Alan's Guitar Shack. Alternatively, my website is alansguitarshack.com. Hope to see you there. Thanks a lot.